From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Kevin Thompson. Tonight we're highlighting some of our best sports stories, from a girls' baseball team playing to support their friend with cancer to a boxing gym striving to help at-risk youth stay off the streets.
It seems that America's pastime isn't just for boys.
Cronkite News reporter Emmy Keenan has more details on an all-girls baseball team in Chandler, a team that has one special little girl.
Doctors diagnosed 7-year-old Leighton Accardo with stage 4 cancer on May 15th. She began chemotherapy just 2 days later. Now her friends and family stand with her at one of the places she loves the most, the baseball diamond.
This is my bracelet. It says, "You are strong, you are brave, you've got this."
One thing that gives Leighton strength through her cancer fight, her East Valley baseball family. When Leighton was still playing t-ball, long before her cancer diagnosis, her mom Carly started an all-girls baseball team. Leighton wanted to be on a team with other girls just like her.
So Leighton, she's my eldest. She plays on the oldest Peaches team, and that team plays baseball and softball. She also plays baseball on a boys team here at East Valley on the AZ 643, and then she plays hockey and she figure skates.
Carly said Leighton spends every moment she can at Chandler's SB Park playing baseball with her friends. Her baseball family came together on May 28th for Shavin' for Leighton, where people could come and shave their heads in support as she goes through chemotherapy.
It was pretty overwhelming. So many people. The energy out here was really great, and I think the love, the prayers, the support, I think that's enough to kick cancer's butt.
Leighton has had to make a rough transition from being on the go as a multi-sport athlete to now spending her time in the hospital.
So for her to not be out doing those things right now is very frustrating for her, but I know she's determined to get back out doing those things as soon as she can.
Leighton begins her second round of chemo on Thursday. According to Johns Hopkins Medicine, the cure rate for malignant germ cell tumors at stage 4 is 82%. In the studio, Emmy Keenan, Cronkite News.
Ability 360 in Phoenix recently hosted what's believed to be the only stand-up amputee basketball tournament in the nation.
But as our Ethan Schmidt explains, this event was a whole lot more than a trophy.
Motivate, educate, and inspire. This is the motto of Phoenix-based AMP1 basketball, created for people with amputations who want to be a part of a competitive sport. AMP1 player and coach Nick Pryor adjusted to life as an amputee after losing the bottom half of his right leg in a firearm accident when he was very young.
I was lucky enough to be, 4 years old when it happened, and when you're that age, you kind of take up and keep running with it, and I've never, it's never stopped me whatsoever.
Pryor said he started playing organized basketball as an amputee when he was 6 years old. Now he's striving to grow the game of stand-up amputee basketball. It allows those with upper or lower extremity disabilities to compete with the team.
Wheelchair basketball, only lower body disabilities can play, so it kind of excludes those people with upper extremity disabilities, but for this, it includes everybody.
It's the perfect team game. But at the same time, there are so many one-on-one aspects that you can challenge yourself individually.
We're cut from the same cloth. We have the same vision as far as not only where our lives have brought us, but also where we want our lives to go.
AMP1 takes the court right here at Ability 360 in Phoenix. These guys compete at a very high level, and basketball allows them to display their athleticism, passion, and purpose.
A lot of us have been playing basketball our whole lives compared to people that are very new to the game. But for us, it's not about the trophy. It's about trying to expand this game and get as many people here. And we want to find the best competition. We want to be pushed to our limits too.
Nick, along with the help of others, has put on America's only stand-up amputee basketball tournament at Ability 360 for 5 years and counting. This year's tournament had participants from 9 different states, including 6 players representing AMP1.
It's very interesting how we can make that work. It's with all the time differences, with from coast to coast, we got players on our team, and it's, social media is a big help to us to kind of keep each other accountable.
But going forward, the biggest goal for AMP1 is getting stand-up amputee basketball into the Paralympic Games.
I think this tournament can be looked at, being the only one of its kind in the country, to kind of, propel that into the talk to be a Paralympic sport.
While Pryor and Amp 1 hope to see 3-on-3 stand-up amputee basketball in future Paralympic Games, 3-on-3 basketball will make its debut at the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. In Phoenix, Ethan Schmidt, Cronkite News.
The Cactus Classic, which Nick Pryor's Amp 1 team won just last weekend, is set to return to Ability 360 next summer.
Ability 360 is one of only 3 facilities across the country explicitly designed for people with disabilities to participate in sports and fitness.
Despite a developmental disorder, an Arizona teen is inspiring others by staying active.
The 14-year-old says he found passions in rock climbing and surfing, both sports that he describes as feeling like he's on top of the world.
Cronkite News reporter Lindsay Edmondson caught up with him. Lindsay?
In first grade, Joseph Solomon was sent to the hospital after a bully shoved him into a bookshelf. With his diagnosis of Asperger's, Joseph had trouble finding a place where he fit in. But after switching schools and now 8 years later, he's found surfing and rock climbing, a community where he feels like he belongs. When Joseph Solomon isn't at school, you can find him doing 2 of his favorite activities, surfing and rock climbing.
I'm always doing things. There's never a boring moment.
But it hasn't been an easy road for Joseph, who was diagnosed with Asperger's at age 6. Joseph said he would melt down in crowds, have difficulty communicating, and struggled with basic social skills. After Joseph's classmates bullied him, his father said he didn't want to go to school anymore.
And he was commenting on would it be better if he was hadn't been born, or if he was born a dog or something like that. And it was one of those things that you could just tell he was just really sad at first. Someone in first grade to be wishing that he wasn't around that was probably the toughest moment.
Joseph found comfort in rock climbing, and then 6 years ago he started surfing. Even with all the challenges he faces, these sports are 2 places where none of that matters.
When you're surfing, it feels like you're walking on water, especially so when you're about to lose the wave. You walk way up on the nose and then step back as soon as it starts to take off, and just an awesome feeling. Rock climbing, really feel like a challenge getting up there and a sense of accomplishment. When you finally get to the top, it just feels like you're on top of the world,
He's amazing to me, just how gifted he is, and all those little things that, I was worried about, the social skills, making eye contact, have just kind of gone by the wayside.
He's excelled at these sports, but they've also aided him in his everyday life.
Helped me with confidence and being independent, advocating for myself, taking care of myself.
With the success and passion Joseph has found in these sports, he now gives his time to helping kids on the autism spectrum to learn to surf through Surfing with Nixon, and also plans to start working at AZ on the Rocks when he's old enough. In the newsroom, Lindsay Emerson, Cronkite News.
The Chavez boxing gym strives to help at-risk youth stay off the streets.
Cronkite News reporter Emmy Keenan stepped into the ring, where head coach Pete Chavez is firmly in their corner.
Pete Chavez, also known as the Punisher, is running more than a boxing gym. He started a family.
He's an amazing person. He has helped me a lot. He helps everybody. He has an amazing personality, and for me, I see him as a father figure that I never had.
The Chavez boxing gym takes up to 35 at-risk kids into the foundation, and Chavez says it all stemmed from his own personal experiences.
I grew up bad area, 35th and Van Buren, gangs, my dad not around, all that stuff. So when I started boxing, it totally changed my life.
Chavez has been boxing for nearly 40 years, and now he shares his passion with his son.
We welcome any kid that wants to come in here, and if they do have anger issues, or if they feel like they're going through a hard time and they just need somewhere to be, stay out of trouble, it's this perfect place. If they're willing to work hard and just show up, we'd love to have them.
The Chavez Youth and Community Foundation has been around for a decade, and now it has reached full capacity. It's a program where they focus on more than just the ring.
I love the boxing, obviously, but we feed the homeless, we do things for Christmas, we do food drives, we do all kinds of different things. And the biggest thing with us is just trying to get out there to the community that we do so much more than just boxing.
Chavez said that boxing is a way to build character, strengthen mind, and strengthen body. In Phoenix, Emmy Keenan, Cronkite News.
Sports can be stressful when you're trying to compete at elite levels, but sports psychology can help with that.
Cronkite News reporter Lindsay Amundsen spoke with a local athlete about the success she's had since training her mental game. Lindsay?
Three-time Arizona State karate champion Lena Brenlin has competed at one of the most elite levels for 10 years. As she's kicking up her training regimen to try out for Team USA next July, she shares how sports psychology has pushed her to the next level. Competing on the USA karate team has always been a goal for Lena Brenlin, but her most recent successes stemmed from one of her worst performances of her career in fall of 2016.
I defeated myself. Like, I got so just nervous and I had anxiety and butterflies, and it was like I'd been practicing all this stuff for forever and I just wasn't able to execute anything.
She vowed to never compete like that again and started seeking help through sports psychology.
The missing link, but it's training your brain. I mean, as athletes, we spend so much time in the gym running drills, making sure that we get enough sleep, that we're eating nutritious foods, but I think a lot of us neglect to train our brains.
Brenlin and her mental coach, Dean Herbert, deconstruct the way she thinks and then find new strategies through goal setting and self-control exercises to help maintain her mental composure. Herbert says that mental game training helps with athletes' confidence, stresses, and anything that's interfering with their ability to perform well.
And a thinking athlete is a bad athlete. We don't want you to think. We want you to count on your training, trust your training, and just execute.
Her getting more consistent with the psychological approach has made her more consistent, and she wins more consistently now.
Brenlin acknowledges there's a lot of negative stigma around sports psychology, and athletes might be reluctant to practice it. But both her and her coach say it can not only help you with sports, but in your everyday life.
Not to say anything's wrong with you, it's just basically training your brain to be as effective as you've trained your body to be. And honestly, as an athlete, who doesn't want to get any little competitive advantage that they can get?
Brenlin hopes to take her consistency from her training, both mentally and physically, into the Arizona Karate Champions in March, and then again in July for the U.S. Olympic Game trials. But she also hopes to help take the negative stigma out of sports psychology. In the newsroom, Lindsay Amundsen, Cronkite News.
All of its children had come to the Mother Church of Country Music. It was almost like a badge of honor that you had to bring your culture with you to the table. That's why Bob Wills and his guys brought us Western music. That's why Hank Williams brought the South with him from honky tonks. Johnny Cash brought the black land dirt of Arkansas. Bill Monroe brought music out of Kentucky bluegrass music. Willie Nelson brought his poetry from Texas. Patsy Cline brought her heartache from Virginia. I mean, it was the most wonderful parade of sons and daughters of America that brought their hearts and their souls and their experiences, and it gave us a great era in country music.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
The Palazzo Senior Living community celebrated National Senior Health and Fitness Day on May 29th by holding exercise classes like Tai Chi and chair yoga.
Chair yoga is a form of yoga originally designed for senior citizens or people with limited mobility. I was able to check out this low-strain adaptive exercise.
Up, reach.
Evangeline Gallegos is 86 years old and exercises every day. She says she's been practicing yoga for years, and chair yoga helps her stay active.
For me, it makes me feel good. Right. And I'm gonna be this way forever. As long as I'm alive, I'll be taking care of me.
Instead of using yoga mats on the floor, practicers use chairs to achieve modified poses. Zoe Bellinghausen has taught chair yoga for 3 years and says the practice makes a real difference in the flexibility of senior citizens.
Some of them came in really not being able to even put their hands over their heads, and now they can stretch up and really move around. The Palazzo hosts modified activities like chair yoga to help improve senior citizens' mobility and even prevent falls. But the benefits are not just physical. Chair yoga can help practicers stay mentally fit as well. And then it's also good for their mind, you know, I mean, like just taking a moment to just take some deep breaths and calm down and really focus it helps, I mean, in so many aspects, so. Gallegos says staying active makes her happy, and she enjoys the friendships she's made through her chair yoga class.
I talk to them, they ask me how I am, and we ask each other stuff. We get along good, and we love the place.
Gallegos plans to practice chair yoga as long as her body will allow her, proving yoga is for every age. In Phoenix, Kyla Wilcher, Cronkite News. The Palazzo offers these same classes weekly for its residents.
Well, out in New River, there's a special type of sporting arena, one with a Wild West type of vibe. Reporter Lindsay Amundsen checked out Larkin Memorial Arena, home to mounted shooting competitions.
Most mounted shooters in the New River Yacht Club started competing because of their love for shooting guns, racing horses, and the fierce competition. But for professional trainer and champion mounted shooter Daniel Bird, his love for the sport happened by accident.
I was playing polo professionally at the time, and the guy I was running the club for in Santa Fe was a multidiscipline facility, and he had done mounted shooting previously. So he had me put on an event there. He goes, okay, we're having mounted shoot. And I said, what in the world is that?
Contestants race in a pattern around barrels with a holster that holds 2 single-action 45 caliber revolvers. They draw the first gun and shoot the first 5 targets, then draw the second gun and shoot the last 5 targets.
When we started this sport, we beat somebody by a second. It's like, woo, we're fast. So you go in the top 5 into a big event now, it's 1,000th. So you can't even comprehend. I mean, much less you're handling two 6-guns, holstering, and doing that in 10, 11, 12 seconds.
It may be a competition about who can shoot all their targets the fastest, but ask anyone here, their favorite part about the sport is the relationships they've made with all the riders.
The camaraderie, the people that you meet, we all come from all walks of life, and with 2 things in common, guns and horses, and it's a great group to hang out with.
But just like any other sport, sometimes their equipment breaks, and as close as these shooters are, they're always willing to lend a helping hand.
My horse stung himself, and I couldn't run him on the last stage, so a friend of mine said, hey, borrow my horse.
This sport has created a family, one with a special bond brought by the love of horses and guns. A place where Bird says is a Saturday well spent. In New River, Lindsay Amundsen, Cronkite News.
The mounted shooters will now begin gearing up for the Lakota Western U.S. Championships in Las Vegas starting on July 24th. They'll be competing against mounted shooters from all over the U.S.
When it comes to track and field, most people are familiar with running, jumping, and throwing, but some athletes compete in walking. In fact, race walking has been part of Olympic track and field since 1908. I caught up with some young athletes race walking their way to the Junior Olympics. Go. Maria Lopez is no stranger to race walking. She's competed for over 20 years in the little-known sport. Go. Now she coaches for Arizona Athletics Track Club and tries to teach young athletes that there is more to track and field than running.
It's a challenge because no everybody can do that, and I like the form, the technique. It's fun.
Now, this sport takes more than just your average walk in the park. Race walking is all about proper form. like straight legs and planted feet. And without these, competitors can be disqualified.
Learning that technique has been pretty hard, a lot of steps, but once you learn all those steps, you become like an expert.
That technique helps race walking maintain a low injury rate, according to a study from San Diego State University. To ensure competitors are using proper form, like keeping one foot planted at all times, the sport requires judges. But Lopez says they can be hard to find in Arizona, where the race walking community is small. Most races have less than 5 competitors, with some having only 1.
And there's not really enough competition for us not to make it a big competition, so we always get to travel around the country.
The Arizona Athletics race walkers all hope their team grows, and that love for the sport grows as well.
Learning this with everybody else has been a huge experience for me, and I hope it's an experience for everybody else.
Now, 3 of these Arizona race walkers have qualified for the Junior Olympic National Championships, which are currently underway in Sacramento, California.
Inside a Taekwondo studio in Chandler, students of all ages stream through the door, looking to improve their coordination, burn off energy, or maybe get in shape. But they end up leaving with much more than that. Cronkite News photo reporter Anya Magnuson takes us inside.
Hi, I'm Master Johnny Nguyen. I'm a 5th degree black belt here at MB Taekwondo, and I've been training in Taekwondo for about 27 years.
Strong balance. Let me see double switch. Wow, wow. Yeah, let me see triple switch. 1, 2, 3.
My name is Isaiah Graves. I'm one of the assistant instructors here at NBT, that's Twin Bros Taekwondo. I've been training for about the last 6 years. When I started about when I was 19 years old. I've been training here with Johnny Nguyen, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I started martial arts early in life. I was about 7 or 8 years old when I fell in love with kung fu movies, and it just went from there. My mom seen me kicking everything and punching everything in the house, and she was like, okay, we're gonna put you in something.
Growing up, it started off as a recreational sport, but it became developmental. It turned into a passion where I wanted to do it every day. I wanted to just be surrounded by it at all times.
We're going to be doing some burpees today.
Yeah.
Yeah, backward.
I've taught for at least 10 years now, and I've taught many different age groups, from college groups to teenagers to kids to even adults. And that's something you just have to adapt to. We try to have the atmosphere at the dojo kind of help them understand the respect and the protocol here.
I actually started with Shotokan Karate, and then after I was done with that, that took me 9 grueling years to get my black belt in, and after that I was like, what's next? What else is there? And the next best thing for me, I thought, was to learn some new skills with Taekwondo, learn how to fly.
Each individual has their own goals. So a child might want to focus on more coordination and listening skills, where a parent or an adult will focus on physical fitness, nutrition, and weight loss. So from there, I just have to adapt and accordingly. I think we have a nice blend, a good balance of fun, exciting, but also disciplined and strict.
I also was sort of a little bit one of those angry children with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder for what reason I don't know of, but martial arts really got that straightened out because I realized I wasn't the baddest kid out there, and I had to be humbled a couple times before I knew I have to be able to control my anger and emotions or somebody could get to me, you know.
Hands up, off the floor, 20 seconds. Ready? Hi.
In 2007, I was at the World Championships. We're at the United States National Team banquet, okay, a welcoming banquet, and a Grandmaster spoke, and he told me something very interesting. He told me that one of the greatest things that you get from practicing Taekwondo is that you meet good people. Here at Taekwondo, we're surrounded by positive influence. We really try to work together as a team to better ourselves. When you lose, say you learn. You learn. You learn, right? And then when you win, you're actually helping the other person learn as well. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. I hope so, okay? So when you guys are playing this game today, no bad sportsmanship, no sore losers, okay? Yes, sir? Yes, sir. All right, everyone stand up.
What we like to do here is go by our tenets. And we say this after every single class with the kids. As a dedicated student of the martial arts, I live my life by the principles of black belt: modesty, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit. And I feel like I've been able to, since 19 years old, I've been able to apply each of those tenets to my life, and I just felt a change. It makes you happier. It makes you more of a well-rounded person when you just understand how to go about daily life, just, you know, just being a positive role model for other people to see and be like, hey, I want to be like that guy.
NB Taekwondo offers classes for kids starting at 4 years old and provides lessons all the way to adults.
They're currently running their summer camp programs, which help children develop skills such as listening, respect, discipline, coordination, and self-confidence. That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News Tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.